Right now we're waiting for this whole quarantine phase to be over, so I thought I'd give you some games to look forward to in the very near future so you can mark your calendars and get hyped for these games coming soon. It's been years since the announcement of Final Fantasy VII being remade on PlayStation 4, but it's finally almost here. This game looks absolutely beautiful and faithful to the original PlayStation 1 version. There's not much to be said here because Final Fantasy VII is such a big name and the demo has been received well, including from myself. It's a bit of a shame that this game's going to be broken up into parts series, meaning that this isn't going to tell the whole Final Fantasy VII story, it's just one game, and with how long this game took to make, which is about 6 years, I'm curious on how long part 2 and 3 will take. I really don't want to be waiting till 2030 when I'm grey and bald to beat this series. If you've never played Final Fantasy VII, you might not quite get the same nostalgia feel to it as someone who has, but it'll be interesting to see what a first time player's perspective is. But this game is a no-brainer if you've played the original PlayStation 1 version. I'm excited for Gears Tactics. I love the XCOM formula and I love Gears of War. So naturally, this is a fantastic fit for me, and I'm lucky enough to have a beefy enough PC that I can easily run this game smoothly. Every time I see this game, I'm hyped. If you love Gears of War, this might be a bit of a change and you might not find much interest in it, but if you love the XCOM series and strategy games in general, this entry into the Gears series looks to be a promising one. And I really appreciate Microsoft doing something different with this franchise rather than just keeping it stale and publishing shooters every single time. The fact that this game is going to be on Xbox Game Pass also means that it won't cost much to play at all. Ghost of Tsushima surprised everyone with its relatively early release date. Sucker Punch hasn't made a game in a very long time. Everyone was surprised when they saw the developer of Infamous and Sly Cooper making a samurai game. It was a pleasant surprise and the game looks absolutely beautiful, to the point where people actually thought that this game was on the PlayStation 5. Now, it could be coming out on both the PS4 and PS5, but for now, with its early release date, we're talking about the PlayStation 4 version, and that's what most people are going to be playing. The combat looks exciting, the world that Sucker Punch has made here looks absolutely gorgeous, and it's so beautiful. With all the Sony exclusives that have been coming out with high Metacritic scores, you think that that trend is going to continue with Ghost of Tsushima. When Death Stranding first came out, it was met with mixed reviews, and till this day, it still remains to be one of the more divisive games. Some Kojima fans love it, and some Kojima fans hate it. But if you're still curious about the game, and for whatever reason you didn't pick it up on PS4, it's coming out on PC, and I'm really curious to see how the game will look graphically, because Death Stranding was one of the best looking games of last year. It really pushed the PlayStation 4 thanks to its draw distances and game direction. It was really well shot and really well designed, so translating that to PC will be interesting. I'm hoping they can really take the time and design it and to take full advantage of what the PC hardware can be capable of. I don't need to spend too long talking about The Last of Us Part 2, because I think most of us are extremely excited for what Naughty Dog is going to do next with the sequel. This game looks nothing short of outstanding, with sublime gameplay design coming from the industry's best. If you've played the first Last of Us, you're probably really excited for what Naughty Dog is going to do with the second one, and if for some weird reason you haven't played the first one, what are you doing? You've got some time to play it before the second one comes up, and it looks like there's going to be no delays, so it looks like Naughty Dog is going to keep their release date at May 31st for now, and I can almost guarantee you that this game will be one of the highest rated games of all times. I am so hyped for this game. When Resident Evil 2 came out last year, it was one of the best games of 2019. Capcom successfully recreated the original Resident Evil 2 in modern era with fantastic game direction. Resident Evil 3 looks to continue that. A lot has been reused in this sequel, but that's okay. Resident Evil 2 was so good, and still till today there's not much developers who are fulfilling the horror genre quite like Capcom is. As a player who didn't play the originals on the PlayStation 1, I have heard that Resident Evil 2 is vastly superior than Resident Evil 3. So it'll be interesting to see what reviews are like for this game. After playing the demo Resident Evil 3, I can safely say I'm sold. If you're into thriller or horror games and you're into more slower paced games with inventory management and zombies, check out Resident Evil 3. Someday You'll Return looks to be one of the walking simulators coming out very soon. It looks similar to Edith Finch, but with a bit more horror. The concept of the game is that when you were younger, you got lost in this forest, and you vowed to never go back to it. Yet, something has led you back into the forest, where there's a lot of creepy crawlies and nasty and all kinds of horror elements happening around you. It's a simple premise, and I doubt the game is going to be very deep, but if you're like me and you love narrative adventures, this game is one you should circle on your calendar because it's coming pretty soon. I'm really excited for Xenoblade's remake, because when this game first came out on the Wii, well, I played it for a bit, but the game is just absolutely massive. I'm talking insanely massive. This game is easily over 100 hours plus. There is so much to explore, and your party size towards the second half of the game really starts to grow. I'm not kidding, guys, this game is absolutely massive. It reminds me of the old PS1 days when RPG games were massive. So I'm really happy I get the chance to play this remake on a Pro Controller with updated graphics, because this game looked ugly on the Wii, and considering what's happening right now and how much time we're spending indoors, I really do wish this game was coming out a little bit earlier. But if you're in the mood for a massive RPG filled with characters, plot, combat, discovery, exploration, and inventory management, I can't recommend this game enough. It'll keep you busy for hours. Those Who Remain is a psychological horror set in a town called Dorman, where you'll play as Edward, who once had a great life. He had a wife and a daughter, but for some reason he has found himself forgetting his memories through a bottle. The game looks to be a trippy narrative just by looking at the trailers, and it looks like Edward is kinda going insane. The game does look interesting and looks to be similar to Someday You'll Return. If you like psychological walking simulators, check this one out. Taking place in Colorado and using snow to influence its gameplay design, Wasteland 3 continues its story RPG turn-based strategy, set in a post-apocalyptic setting. Starting from scratch, building a new base, finding snow-worthy vehicles, training new recruits, and fighting your way through hostile wilderness, all while trying to decide who to trust in a land torn apart by corruption, intrigue, warring factions, crazed cultists, cutthroat gangs, and bitter sibling rivalries. I haven't played any of the Wasteland games, but Wasteland 3 looks absolutely beautiful. Its level design and its decision making help separate it from other strategy games. If you love XCOM style games, this one is not to be missed. So I hope that you enjoyed the list, guys. I hope you found some games that you're looking forward to in the next few months, and hopefully this makes the quarantine a little bit easier on you. If you liked the video, subscribe and like the video, because it does help a small channel like mine grow. Thanks for watching, guys.